Hello and welcome to another episode. During the week I did a video on my decision to part exchange my beloved EV6 for a Kia EV3 GT Line S, and also I did a Kia Connect features video on the Kia EV3. On my I guess it's time video I had so many comments thanking me for my 3 years of service to the EV6 community. I'd like to thank everyone for these comments. I was a bit overwhelmed, to be fair. I will continue to support EV6 owners like before, so there will be no change. I put a link to this video above. I was also asked why I'm doing it if I still love the car so much, so I will try to explain more of my reasons. My wife's Renault Zoe will be 7 years old next year. Year by year, more things need replacing and servicing costs are getting ridiculous. We had intended to replace the Zoe with maybe a second-hand Nero EV or Insta or EV3 Air. What triggered my decision to sell Elvira was the plummet in value. If you look at the valuation history on the motorway website, you can see in January the value of Elvira was $29,650. March it was $29,800, April it was $29,450, June it was $29,427. By August it started to go downhill to $29,274. By December it was down to $27,387. My line in the sand was around 30k mark. I was happy with it being at 29,000, but as you can see it started to go downhill from August. This is probably from the point the new EV6 facelift was launched. While I understand that used car prices are demand based and cyclic, I cannot risk what I can get for my EV6 plummeting even more. We need to buy a new car since we've decided to go down to one car. My EV6 is too big for my wife to drive, so it's not an option to keep it really. Elvira was being driven once a week if I was lucky, and the Zoe did all the local driving, so it was quite wasted on our drive sitting there doing nothing. The main time she was used was for holidays and other long distance events. The only way we can afford to buy a new car is to sell both my EV6 and my wife's Renault Zoe. I had hoped to keep my EV6 and buy a base trim EV3, but we can't afford to do that. Figures don't work out. We are both retired, so we have limited resources. This is no different situation to any new car I purchased over the last 24 years. I've had about 10. I normally keep them 3 years. In one case I kept my last ICE car for 5 years because I was waiting for the right EV. And that right car was the Nero in 2020. That was the best car I'd ever driven or owned up until that point. I still have a lot of affection for that car. Then I traded that in 2021 for my EV6, and I was lucky enough to get almost what I paid for it because of the weird stuff going on with the used car market at the end of the pandemic. The EV6 was a big step change in the market at the time, along with the Ioniq 5. I instantly fell in love with it. I'm well aware of depreciation on a new car, but like many of us, we just accept it. Other reasons for selling my EV6. Next November's MOT and second service will be very expensive. It could well need 4 new 20-inch tyres, and all of this is a lot of money. I'm also fed up of the situation with the ICCU recalls. We are due yet another software recall update in the new year. The other updates did not stop the ICCU failures. Are they just going to keep kicking the can down the road, pushing out ICCU software updates until all of the Mark 1 EV6s run out of warranty? I know this is a quite cynical view, but I'm fed up of it. Then where would we be? I'd end up with a massive bill. Only time will tell if this is actually fixed now. They should be replacing all of these ICCUs in the mass recall and stop all this faffing around. Why the EV3, you ask? Well, it's a very impressive car with many improvements. It's the driving and the included technology that's really turned my head, and it has. I can't doubt that. Yes, it charges slower, 10 to 80% in 31 minutes, but how often do I DC fast charge? Maybe 2 or 3 times a year, and even then we stop for longer than that on the services for a break. The technology in this car also feels like another step change. The vehicle to home and vehicle to grid support adds to its appeal for me. The other reason for going for the EV3 now is to secure the cheaper road tax. From April the 1st, any new car over 40,000 attracts luxury car tax. So you could change your EV6 now for the new facelifted one and not have to pay that. Another reason to go for the EV3 now is the cheap 2% finance deal. That's due to end before Christmas, but it might continue in the new year, who knows. Granted, it will never look as good as my EV6, but I want a new car to explore and some new challenges. There are only so many videos I can make about the EV6. I've probably done 200 to 300 or more videos over the last 3 years. I'd love to keep Elvira forever, but I just can't afford it. So I hope this clears it up once and for all. If anyone has any ideas for my final Elvira videos, please let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. I also have my own list of videos I have to finish before I hand her back. Now some more info that has come out of my Kia Connect video for the EV3. From the comments on that video, it was seen that I missed even more features that we don't see on the original EV6. There's a new simplified scheduled charging menu. Also, you can now set the vehicle to load usage limit from the Kia Connect. You can also change the AC charging current without visiting the car. I think this also applies to the new Ioniq 5. Someone's told me in the comments, so that probably will apply to the new EV6 facelift. Why they can't implement this on our current EV6 and Neros, I don't know. Maybe they just can't be bothered. But I mean, technically anything that's doable on the touchscreen is doable over the air with the remote controls. So it's just their will that's lacking in this, I think. While we are still waiting for the Kia EV3 Ncap data, the Euro Ncap stuff, to appear, the Korean EV3 Ncap data has emerged with crash videos. You'll have to guess which symbols mean what, as I can't get it to translate for some reason. I'm trying to guess. I think it scores pretty highly overall though. The overall score was 1 for all of the tests, which is the highest it could be. It looks like 89.5% for crash tests, 73.9% for pedestrian protection, and passenger protection. I can't tell. Could be passenger as well. I don't know what the middle symbol means. 91.5%, I guess it may be autonomous driving and safety features. The last symbol looks like electrical safety, which scores 72.7%, which it's a very interesting video to watch. On the subject of the Kia EV3, there are a couple of new how-to videos. I will put links to these videos above. The most important one is how to access the car when the smart key battery is discharged, i.e. flat. What they don't tell you is this is the very same method to enter the car in case your 12-volt battery is flat. I'm not saying this is going to happen on the EV3, but Kia has a long history of 12-volt battery problems on their EVs, even as recently as the Kia EV9 this year. For this reason, you should always carry the physical key with you, because if the 12-volt battery fails, your smart key won't work and the digital key also won't work, and you won't be able to get in the car to jumpstart the battery. There is also a how-to video on streaming stuff on the EV3. A few weeks ago, Kia Asia Pacific showcased the Kia EV3 and EV4 concept and the PV5 at the first ever regional Kia EV Day. I've also heard from various sources strong rumours that the EV3 and 4 will be coming to Australia in the second half of 2025. I was also asked during the week when I thought the EV3 would come to North America. This is hard to say, since the Trump administration is going to complicate things with new import tariffs and possibly banning some imports from Mexico. Canada also has put some tariffs on Chinese car imports in place, and if the EV3 uses parts from China, that will have some impact. I've since found out that 2026 is more likely for Canada and the end of 2025 for a USA launch. Korean car blog has this week shown the Kia EV4 hatchback spied with production taillights for the very first time. These taillights look very similar to the EV3 taillights. I can't wait to see the finished article next year. The EV4 was actually on my original list to replace my EV6, but the timing is not right for us. The Canadian EV9 shifter failure issue that I've been covering for a few months now has now occurred in some US cars. Someone in the USA called Tiffany A contacted me in the comments to confirm this on my original problem video. I pointed them towards my update from Bob Stevenson in last week's Kia Electric News. I don't know if this is from the same batch of VINs that Bob suggested before. I would suggest this will eventually lead to a recall in the US as long as owners leave enough complaints on the NHTSA website. You may remember the US recall SC326, which was the fix for the blank instrument panel on the Kia EV9. Well, it would appear it did not work according to this complaint on the NHTSA complaints database. The complaint reads as follows. Our Kia EV9, which has had the software update installed to address NHTSA recall number 24V757, also known as SC326, has again had the driver's instrument panel screen come up blank when the car was started. This is identical to the behaviour we observed multiple times before taking the car to the dealership for the software update. To resolve the issue, the car was turned off and permitted to sit for an hour before we attempted to start it again, and the problem was no longer present. This update is now also live on the US over-the-air update site. It seems a bit pointless though if it does not fix the issue. In the EU and the UK, Kia Connect 2.1.21 has finally arrived on Apple iOS. So you can now see the speed that your car is currently charging at in the app, like on the Android version. Both Hyundai and Kia have reported record US sales again for November. I'm not going to go into the detail because a lot of people get bored by this, but the links to the actual sales figures are in the description, as always, if you like that kind of thing and want a proper drill down. And finally, Genesis has unveiled this absolutely gorgeous looking GMR 001 Hypercar and the Genesis Magma Racing backed by Hyundai Motorsport team. Normally I would not report on cars like this, but this has got a hybrid drivetrain, so I can just about get away with it. The newly launched Genesis Magma Racing will draw on Hyundai Motorsport's expertise in global motorsport as it embarks on an endurance program in World Endurance Championship, or WEC, and IMSA Sports Car Championship. The unveiling of Genesis GMR 001 Hypercar, a high-performance prototype that embodies the brand's design philosophy, athletic elegance. Genesis' strategy in motorsport is revealed alongside team drivers Andre Lotterer and Louis Pipo-Durrani. Genesis Magma Racing will field a two-car entry in the WEC 2026 and the IMSA 2027, with support from endurance specialists Ariga Motorsport and IDEX Sport. As part of its preparations, an LMP2 team will compete in the 2025 European Le Mans Series. The unveiling of the GMR 001 Hypercar and the announcement of Genesis' bold motorsport strategy are part of the brand's broader vision to redefine high-performance luxury. This vision extends beyond the racetrack and is embodied in the 5 unique Magma concept models that were displayed at the event, each representing the brand's relentless pursuit of excellence, design and innovation since the introduction of the GV80 Coupe concept in April 2023. The 5 models on display were the GV80 Coupe concept, the G80 EV Magma concept, the GV60 Magma concept, the X-Gran Berlinetta concept and the X-Gran Racer VGT concept. These concept models highlight the evolution of Genesis' high performance capabilities and showcase the Magma program's impact on the brand's direction for its next phase. That's all for this week. Links to all stories and videos can be found in the show notes in the video description as usual. I've included some on-screen links to as many videos as I can. There's a limit, so just look out for them in the top right. Thanks for all the comments, likes and subscribes. Many thanks to all my channel members for your valued support. Thank you for watching.